Now, you're an actor, puppeteer, stand-up comedian. Most recently, you were in Muppets Haunted Mansion on Disney+, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so what was that like working on it?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. That was the first time I got to work with the Muppets. I've been with the Jim Henson Company for almost 10 years, so it's been a long time coming to work with the Muppets. And yeah, I got to play Camila Chicken in Haunted Mansion, which is great. It was kind of a weird out-of-body experience though, because as puppeteers, we work off of a monitor. And since I was in the background, but Miss Piggy and Kermit were in the foreground, a lot of times I would forget that I was puppeteering because I would be watching the show.
Yeah, exactly. Because these are huge characters.
Right.
Kermit and Miss Piggy.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
And so I'd be like, oh no, I'm in the background and I'm puppeteering too. So
which are very important.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How do you get into puppeteering? Who taught you to puppeteer?
So when I was in community college, one of my improv teachers, his name's Alan Troutman, he is a puppeteer. He worked on dinosaurs. So at the time, I was just trying to raise enough money or make enough money to take improv classes in LA. And so I was like, oh, a free improv class? Sure, I'll take it. And I thought it was in someone's basement. And then he sent me the address, and it was at the Henson lot, so I was like, oh, obviously this is legit.
Yeah, instead of someone's basement, it's the top
studio
that you can do puppeteering at. Yeah.
Exactly. So I got to learn how to puppeteer through them. It was like half improv, half puppetry. They're basically just training us to do Puppet Up, which is what I do pretty frequently with the Henson Company.
You just did Muppets Haunted Mansion, and then you also recently performed at Knott's Scary Farm in Puppet Up for the Henson Company. So I see that Halloween is a pretty big theme in your life. Do you like spooky stuff?
I do love spooky stuff. I can't really do scary movies unless I watch them during the day.
Okay.
And then I have a palate cleanser afterwards. Like I have to watch like an episode of like Parks and Rec or something to clear out my mind. But yeah, I do love spooky things. I love the fact that I get to do Puppet Up at Knott's Scary Farm because you're just like in the midst of all the spooky haunt stuff, and then afterwards, a lot of us puppeteers will go run around and like go do a maze or go ride a ride or something.
So you can't watch a scary movie, but you like going in a scary maze.
Yeah, I put earplugs in. I'm a wuss.
Oh, okay, so you're shielding yourself.
Oh yeah, and then I clutch my pearls when I walk through the whole thing.
So Muppets Haunted Mansion, working with the Henson, all that's pretty big. What do you see as your next steps? Where do you want to go from here?
I definitely enjoy being a puppeteer. It's kind of funny when we talk about acting. I always wanted to be an actor, just period. And at the time when I would start to learn how to puppeteer, it was like, oh, I'm an actor. I just have this really niche like skill set that I have. But every gig that I was getting that was in the industry were puppet gigs. And then I had this like lunch with another puppeteer. Her name's Donna Kimball. She's amazing. She was in Dark Crystal recently.
Ooh, okay.
She sat down and was like, have you ever thought of just being a puppeteer? And at the time I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you are, but you're kind of halfway in, halfway out because a part of you still wants to be like a person actor.
Yeah.
And so and this was probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I made the conscious decision of like, okay, I'm just gonna give puppeteering as much of my attention and energy and time. And after I kind of made that shift is when all these puppet opportunities started opening up for me. So I always like to tell people like, just because you're an actor, like there's so many ways to act. Like puppeteering is acting. Yeah. So I definitely like encourage people a lot not to think that like, oh, just because acting isn't working out doesn't mean you can't find another way to do it in a different capacity.
And that makes me think of one of the biggest projects that you've done recently, which is The Barbarian and the Troll, which you were a series regular on that, doing puppetry and acting all in one, and you were Stacy the Owl. So I feel like you leaned in to truly being a puppeteer, and then all of a sudden you're on a big TV series. So
yeah, it was wild. And because I think I like became more friendly with other puppeteers and stuff, like Stacy the Owl was written for me, which was crazy. Like I would have never thought anyone would do that for me. But it's like Donna said, it's like you just gotta lean into it and all these opportunities will come, so yeah.
What is something that a general person like me should know about puppeteering?
Well, first of all, everything that you see usually in terms of if it's all puppets, the set is raised because we have our hands above our heads.
Right, so you're hiding behind a stage.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why, like, when there's people involved, it gets a little bit more difficult because then we have to be on the ground. Usually we're on wheelies, which are like stools with wheels. So anytime, like, you know, let's say Kermit is walking alongside, like Steve Martin.
Yeah.
That puppeteer's on a wheelie,
Very
and Steve
casual.
Martin's just walking down, and that person's wheeling along with him and making sure that puppet looks like it's walking alongside.
So
of
does
him.
someone have to be behind you pushing your
No.
body while you're... So you're wheeling yourself and acting at the same time?
And you're looking at a monitor. You're not looking live. Usually there's like a tiny little monitor in between your knees, and you have to watch that because we're basically seeing what the camera sees, and we frame up to camera.
Is somebody leading all of the puppeteers, or have you just rehearsed so much before that you know exactly where to be and when?
Luckily, if it's a good puppet gig, there's usually a puppet captain, and that person's the liaison between production and the puppeteers, because sometimes with production, they're like, well, can you fit everyone in that cupboard? And you're like, no, there's people.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. Or, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable for the puppeteers, and the puppet captain could be like, hey, can we move this set piece to cover them up a little bit so that way it's a little bit easier for them. So it's nice to have a puppet captain that does that, and we'll make sure that all the puppeteers are safe and taken care of.
Well, and speaking of that, on Barbarian and the Troll, I had seen on your Instagram as well a lot of special effects work that was on that show. Was there something really cool or unique that you enjoyed being a part of as far as the special effects on that show?
Everything was practical. Well, mostly was practical. So like the explosions you're seeing for like spells and things like that, that was real. So for me, it was such a different experience because I'd never had to puppeteer with like safety precautions in mind, where someone's like, by the way, I know you're acting and you have your arm above your head, but this thing's gonna explode in 2 seconds. So if at any point it gets scary, just, you know, and...
Did you ever have to do that?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely a different experience.
Yeah, a whole new thing. Mm-hmm. Well, that is very cool. I very much appreciate you being here, Sarah. It's nice to have you as a friend, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Of course. Hey, Victor.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Good. I just got an email from a producer who wants to talk to us about financing our next 4 episodes.
Oh, sick. Okay.
I'm actually just going to loop her right onto this call, but I should tell you, she's known for being a little intense.
Yeesh, okay.
Okay, she's joining right now.
Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Who the heck is that?
That's Victor. He's producing Up and Comers with me.
Okay. Not sure we need an intern.
Oh, actually, no. I'm a
intern?
producer.
Cassandra! Fetch my checkbook. I'm gonna hoodwink these little YouTube boys and take over their channel while making a pretty little penny.
She knows we can hear her, right?
What was that?
Oh, nothing? Nothing?
That was ominous, though, right?
Victor, would you be a doll and pick up my dry cleaning, please? Cassandra!
We're Build-A-Bear Workshop?
Cassandra, bring the Tesla around. I want to give Victor some notes in person. In person.